Hello, everyone. I am Claudiumurgan, the host of the Spiritual Inspired podcast, and my guest today is Howard Sambol. Howard is the founder and director of the Life Crafting Program. He has devoted over 3 decades guiding individuals to clarify their purpose, passion, gifts, and make money doing what they love. Howard's specialty is supporting individuals transitioning from a corporate career who want great income, freedom, and personal fulfillment in their own business. He is devoted to each person he meets and relentless in helping you succeed. On top of being an award-winning author of Craft Your Genius Life, a recovering mathematician and master astrologer, Howard is a successful cryptocurrency investor and now guides individuals to duplicate his success through his new cryptocurrency startup program. Howard, thank you very much for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited.
And I usually start by asking my guests how they, step on their spiritual path, and in your case, your entrepreneurial path. And it's been a while since I have an astrologer as a guest.
Oh, well, very, very good. That's terrific. Yes, yes. Well, yes, I was pursuing mathematics and for in my early years, and a turning point came where I came to realize that although that was a great career for me, but I came to realize that there was a whole other path ahead on a different journey, where what I was really here and what I was really destined to do. So I started to pursue that, and as I did, this magic continued to happen, connections, opportunities, learning situations, and it's just been an amazing journey, and excited. And even though I'm at it for so many years, I still feel like I'm just getting started.
That's great. And how much astrology affected your life and the life of those around you?
Well, I would say that when I began to study in a serious way, a whole universe opened up for me, a whole universe, a whole different reality, understanding of my past, my present, as just amazing insights, discoveries. And astrology has multiple dimensions to it. One of them is, of course, self-knowledge and understanding, and the spiritual awakening part of it. But the other part is that it's a time machine, so that it allows you to move forward or backwards in time and understand time in a way that very, very few people understand it. The way that I approach it is from an evolutionary vantage point, which means I view everything as furthering our individual and our collective evolution at all levels. And so when I work with clients with their transits, the planetary cycles and movement and all of that, we get to uncover the specific challenges and opportunities, and in essence, the communication of their higher self, of what they're being invited into seeing and knowing and embracing. And that's the fun part for me, because we get to merge that very high sort of esoteric knowledge, if you will, with very pragmatic, down-to-earth, business-oriented goals. And we see this beautiful integration between those two. So that's big.
And knowing that we talk about time and evolution and everything else, do you see anything major happening from an astrological point of view in the next 2 to 4 years for us
Yes,
as humanity?
yes, I do. Absolutely. Thanks for asking that question. I see that we're moving down a path of, I'm going to be very honest and direct, and hopefully your audience will be will be okay with that. Uh, we've been battling, in terms of humanity. We've been battling for a very long time, a very dark energy on our planet, manifesting in a wide variety of ways. And over the last year, approximately or two, I feel that the forces of love and light and integrity and truth and whatever freedom have have succeeded in gaining an upper hand, over those dark energies. And I feel that we're now moving into the last phase of cleansing or purging that energy from our planet. So I see And it's going to take a lot of time because it's deeply entrenched and embedded so deeply in the psyche. But as we move ahead with that, I see, amazing awakening. The awakening, of course, has already started, but a mass awakening where we discover our real true nature, where people, shed this prison this mind control prison, and we shed that, and we discover our true nature, and that will open the doors to a very enlightened, higher dimensional experience in civilization.
So in other words, most of us will have to take the red pill, like in the Matrix series, and awaken ourselves, understand that
Yes.
where we are and how we should move forward.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I would estimate that maybe 500 or 600 million have taken the red pill already, but that's still a small percentage of 8 billion. So I think maybe over the next 2 years, we may see a huge acceleration of that phenomenon, to the point whereby, I don't know, let's say 2028 or 2030, we have the majority have taken the red pill, but it's even further along because our evolution is going to keep revealing more and more truth, and deeper knowledge, and deeper, and joining a galactic, a whole, in the universe. So we're not alone in connecting, to our brothers and sisters from, other star systems. Very exciting time, very exciting time.
Yes, and do you think that events such the Queen's death could trigger more people to awaken and more revelation to come forward?
Yes, without a doubt. We're in a phase now where we have what might be called time markers. This process has been sort of laid out by a number of advanced teachers, and people who have access to this deeper knowledge. And there are, at this point, it's a timeline, and there are time markers. And then with the Queen, of course, was one. The demise or the collapse of fiat money on the planet is another major one, and we're rapidly approaching, that time which will be a major shock for so many people, but necessary in the course of, global awakening. So many different things that will be coming out. All the conspiracy theorists will be heralded as, whatever, the geniuses, and we'll just go, hey, what was wrong with you? Why couldn't you just see the obvious? That kind of thing.
Yeah, there are people like David Icke, which have been telling us about these things like 30 years ago, and they were ostracized,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Stonewall, and now they, again, as you said, they look like heroes because they were right. And
Exactly.
the idea we keep hammering onto my viewers is, and other people around us, is increased level of consciousness and love, because only these two elements will take us over the hump, and will red pill more people.
Well, I don't know the exact wording of it, Claudiu, but there's a quote that was associated with David Icke. I don't know if it was his quote or somebody else, but it's something to the effect that as you move forward further and further on your path, and you go more into more and more uncharted regions, to the masses, you seem progressively more insane. But that's only relative to where you are looking, to where you're looking from. Like, what is the lens that you're looking through, and how far along are you in that process? So what I try to do in my coaching with Red Pill, I try to gauge, as best as I'm able, what people are ready for, how far have they progressed, what are they ready for, and only give them, the little, the slow IV drip, the little bit at a time that they can handle.
Yes, yeah, because if you overwhelm them, they will run away scared, and you'll never get them back, and they will maybe never have the chance to awaken to
Exactly. I think
reality.
that what we're coming up to next, in the next phase, is not just cognitive dissonance on an individual level, but massive, profound societal cognitive dissonance. I think we're heading to that. And then maybe we'll need trauma centers all over the world to help people going through that. It's very, very possible.
Yes, I agree. Because right now we are hit from all the angles, not only financial, but economical, food-related issues, political issues. And I'm reading about more about agriculture, how agriculture was done in 18th and 19th century with natural methods. And there are patents on how to work the land, how to protect the land and its fertility, and all those were threw out of the window because the big corporations wanted to put fertilizers in the soil. They wanted to
Yeah.
use a specific way of
Oh yeah. But
agriculture.
poisoning and diminishing,
Yeah,
and
and they destroyed
exactly.
century-old approaches to fertile soil. And that will affect us this year, next year, in the years to come, because again, they are destroying land, they are diminishing production, and that would be
Ecosystems.
another harsh thought of an issue to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? I'm an optimistic person. I believe that as we move into the new age, the new period of awakening, that there'll be a lot of methods that will be uncovered. A lot of healing, restoration methods will become revealed, where we can heal our planet and heal people in ways that now people can't really even really imagine. I recently discovered that every cell in the human body has 100,000 processes internally within the cell that take place every second. But electricity is not fast enough we then tend to think of the body as being kind of electric magnetic, but electricity isn't fast enough. And the only thing that can handle 100,000 processes per second is light. So now we're moving into the phase of biophotonics, which is the intersection between biology and light. And of course that old expression, that we're light beings, is now starting to come out scientifically, that we're seeing the evidence that light and all illness is nothing more than a issue of coherence with the light and the light being. Once we restore that coherence, everything normalizes again. So
Yes.
It is exciting, very exciting discoveries that are coming along.
Totally agree, and this is in sync with what I discussed with my previous guest about Homo luminous, which is in line with what you just said. Yes.
Good. Yes. Yes. Very good. What would you say? What do you feel that your audience, on a pragmatic level, what do you feel is that they're wanting mostly in their life, maybe that's been elusive to them or challenging for them? Maybe I could shed some light on the aspect of life fulfillment, that we can have a truly fulfilling life, even going through these very, very challenging times.
I think it's always been the point of midlife crisis where people go through a job or multiple jobs and the
Right.
marriage, and at the end of that time period, close to their end of their 40s, beginning of their 50s, they understand that they don't like what they are doing, they haven't achieved too much in their life, and they are looking for something new. And for some of them is spirituality, for someone else could be a new business, a new marriage, a new relationship.
It takes
There,
all forms. Well,
yeah.
what you're talking about, Claudiu, is in astrology terms, the planet Uranus reaching its opposition to its natal position. So what we call it Uranus opposite Uranus, which happens around age 42, somewhere in that range. And the planet Uranus has to do with individuality. And what I found over decades is that people's life fulfillment, their creativity, their unique accomplishments, their everything, their sense of satisfaction is all ultimately linked to their individuality, to knowing their deepest truth, to celebrating what is unique about them, and then to harnessing that uniqueness, individuality, harnessing it into a form where they can be of service to others with that unique gift, which is exactly what we do in life crafting. Is we basically peel the onion down where we guide people to peel the onion down and keep making more and more discoveries of what that deepest truth is in a very elegant and gentle way. But then when we encounter limiting beliefs where most people just stop and give up or settle for something very, limited, we continue going, drilling down because we have the technology for shifting limiting beliefs in an emotional, at the emotional level. And so they can continue peeling down. And when people finally get to that place of clarity, both mentally and emotionally, they have that deep, inner clarity. So there's this inner knowing, literally in their body, why they're here. That never goes away, and that becomes a permanent shift. And I think it's similar to the near-death experiences where people come back and they have a whole new value system and new orientation. You don't have to do that in order to, you don't have to go through that in order to have that awakening.
Yes, I mean, people have to understand that each of us has a lot of creativity embedded into our DNA. And
Yes,
as you said, we
exactly.
have to peel it up, we have to bring it to the surface. And recently, I saw some images from the latest Burning Man festival in the desert. And the the art installations I saw there are just unbelievable. Like every year, they are becoming better and better. And people get together to put them together and then show their creativity, and it's just unbelievable. And that's just a small example of
Yeah.
what we can do.
Yeah, it's actually stunning and astonishing what when people are given the opportunity and the freedom and the encouragement and the tools. Like my core philosophy is that nobody is broken, nobody needs to be fixed. What's lacking, however, is a set of skills that were never imparted in education because everything was externalized. So all the perception of reality is everything's out here. And what we do in life crafting is we shift people internally to get their own inner world, inner life, and personal mastery, and then interconnect the dots between that and the external. So it's not all internal, but we're connecting the dots back and forth so people can see the validation that in fact the inner and the outer are mirror reflections, that they get to experience and discover that for themselves, not because somebody told them that. It's useless, right? It's that they discover it, then they know it, and then it's real for them. So that's the beauty in life crafting. People discover the truth, and then they have it forever. But then there's a meta learning, which is not only discover the truth, but discover the methodology for knowing the truth, so that as the truth evolves, they can keep updating that and keep reconnecting to that evolution of the truth more and more and more. That to me, it gives me the greatest satisfaction to see that level of learning and knowing.
Yes, and to take small steps before we get to that level where we can peel off the onion, which we are in fact ourselves. We can do small gesture of goodness every single day to the people around us, and that will make
Absolutely.
us feel good, and it will help us grow into a better human being.
Exactly. Totally. Totally. Every day is an opportunity to tap in to the knowing and to be in appreciation, gratitude and appreciation for what is now. Uh, See the movement that's occurred, see the leaps that we're making all the time, the tremendous growth and leaps, and just appreciating that, which of course, furthers it, just the appreciation furthers it, and sharing it with others and being part of a support community. So I want to share with your audience that probably one of my very biggest discoveries over the last 8 to 10 years or longer is the importance of a support system in life. But most people don't even talk about that or even know what it is. And if you ask the average or even a highly educated person, what's an effective support system? They'll say Oh yeah, your friends and family just merely being cheerleaders and cheering you on, okay, or something to that effect. So what I did is I discovered what an effective support system actually is, and then I interconnected it to the concept of a mastermind. So I don't know if your audience is familiar with the notion of mastermind. Mastermind was originated way back in the 1920s and 30s. With people like Napoleon Hill, who wrote, Think and Grow Rich, but that era. Anyway, over the years, what they discovered was if you get a group of people together who are all, intelligent and business professionals, whatever, and they're all committed to their individual success and their group, there's a deep bond of friendship. And out of that group, it becomes a mind is born, a synergy is born, a magical group mind, and then later became known as the mastermind. Okay. Well, over the decades, masterminds have proliferated everywhere on the planet, and there are masterminds everywhere. But what I did, though, I've always been a really big fan of that. But what I did is I went deeper. I went beyond that. I went deeper into that, and I started to look at all of the typical kinds of breakdowns that happen in people's lives. And the source of those breaks, because my philosophy is the chain is only as strong as the weakest link, and most people have no clue what the weak or broken links are, so they're kind of like the proverbial hamster spinning but not going anywhere. So the long and short of it is I came up with five extremely unique and empowering components, which I wound up adding on to the mastermind concept. And with these elements added, and with a coaching dynamic with the group, it's absolutely miraculous, because it's one of these loop things. Like whatever's going on with you, in whatever arena or whatever level, you have a support structure that's going to address that issue and that problem, and give you tools and empowering you with tools to help you move ahead. Anyway, I'm particularly excited about this now because it's coming into an integrated focus at the moment. It's coming into a really strong integrated focus, and we're going to be able to make this available to a lot of people. So it's a self-regulating, self-sustaining, self-developing, continuous system of empowerment that's based in love, but it also has unique technology built into that: compassion, unconditional loving, with specific tools to address all the different things that typically occur. So it's really quite magical. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Interesting. And to stay on the astrology subject, you and I had a quick discussion prior to this interview, and I know you like to have some fun, and you have a game called Astrodice.
Correct, that's
And
correct.
you don't know too much about me, that's for sure. We have to reveal that. And we said that I'm gonna ask you a question, and we'll see if you can run the dice and come up
Yes.
with some answers. My audience know the answer to this question because I
You
explained to
share that
them
with them.
once or twice. But let's see if your answer is going to
Yeah,
match.
well, we'll
Yeah.
see what the Astrodice have to say. Now, the Astrodice know the answer that you've shared, and maybe they want to take it a little bit further. They have a tendency to be what we say, playful at times, and they tease me. In fact, they've been doing that. So anyway, yeah, why don't you just do this, Claudia? Why don't you say, I give Howard permission to roll the Astro dice for me. Why don't you say that out loud?
I give Howard permission to run the Astrodice.
Okay, perfect. And now you can tell me the question, and I will just take a moment to tune into your question. And what I'll do is I'll give you the answer, but I'm gonna break it down. So I'll give you every symbol, three symbols, so I'm not fudging.
Okay.
So I'm putting it together precisely, and then we'll do it together. We'll put it together, and you'll get your answer. Okay.
Okay. So last year we left Canada for Panama, and we supposed to spend a full year, at least a full year there, but we had to come back after 4 months. Why did we return?
Well, no, let me qualify this. The astrodice can't answer why questions. They can't really do that.
Okay.
It's also like asking them like who's going to win the World Series in baseball. I mean, they can't answer that. So you can ask questions like how can I, what is the best way for me to give me feedback on. So those are formats that tend to work really, really well. That's what I would recommend in terms of the wording. You could even say like, give us feedback about our journey to Panama and our return to Canada. Give us any insights that would be valuable for us to have about that process.
Okay, so I will rephrase. So that shows that we didn't script this game.
Yeah, these are just things from experience that I know that they're optimum ways of wording the questions, right?
Okay, so please give me some feedback on our stay and overall journey in Panama. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. All right, very good. All right, give me a moment to... Okay, let's see. All right, here is the answer. It's interesting. The answer is Jupiter, the planet Jupiter. The zodiac sign is Capricorn, and the number is 11. So I want to explain each symbol separately first. So Jupiter in this context is indicative of expansion, learning, knowledge, wisdom. I would say mostly expansion. The sign of Capricorn has to do with many things, like particularly business, leadership, structure, organization, responsibility, things of that sort. And success in business is a really big theme. The 11 is in this context has to do with groups, networks, communities, and organizations. But in this context, the 11 also carries with it a strong Aquarian flavor to it, because 11th sign, 11th house, so it's similar. So if I put all these elements together, what I come up with is an expansion of business success within an unconventional community or network. Okay, so that you were seeking or wanted or hoped for or was striving for some further expansion of your overall business success or your business level, but wanted to bring it into bring it into an environment or a context that was in tune with your values, with your unconventional values. So that's the simple way to say it.
Yes, I mean, one intention was that to expand also, spiritually and from a business perspective as well into a new environment, again with a long-term goal in mind. Yes, thank you very much.
Was there a particular driving force when you're in Panama, or like a particular pragmatic driving force that got you back to Canada? Or was it...
Yes, pretty much like a personal one. The boys couldn't adapt that fast and in a proper way to the environment.
Yeah, so it relates strongly to the answer of the dice, because Capricorn a lot has to do with structures, traditional structures, workability, effectiveness, efficiency, workability. All these are words that are very aligned with the archetype of Capricorn. Control, leadership, and there's also a quality, I would say, of security in pragmatism and security embedded within Capricorn. Now I have to share something personal with you that's going to really blow your mind. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So back around the year, let's see, I think it was around 2005, right around 2005. I was involved, my partner and I were involved with a very red pill, with an international red pill organization that was putting on week-long retreats and conferences in Mexico, a lot in Mexico. However, at that time, there were some very unique things that were happening in Panama that we were particularly drawn to. So my partner and I went down to Panama during that time, okay? And we seriously considered relocating. We seriously considered relocating there, and we even went up to this town called Boquete, which is in the you may have heard of it. It's in the northwestern near the Costa Rica border.
Yeah.
And it's well known for expats, that tend to go there. Anyway, long story short, it was a very wonderful adventure and trip, but I could not make the transition from a cultural perspective. So we came back to California. So I thought, what an amazing parallel.
Yeah, we visited Boquete. We even went up the volcano. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I just thought you'd be amazed at the parallel there.
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Paths are so oftentimes parallel. So let's see if there's any other well, think of it this way. Your audience, I'm sure there's different challenges that they have in their life, but from your knowledge of connection with them, there may be one or two things that you've particularly noticed them hitting up against that have been troubling or difficult, or you know what I mean, for them. I would like to impart, if I can, I'd like to impart something that could offer a breakthrough for people hitting up against some particular thing that they're not quite sure how to get through. It could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual. If you have any thoughts on that, I'd be happy to shed some light on it.
Yeah, I think the second item on their list is the financial worry and how they can maintain a positive cash flow, how they can survive in this environment which is very inflational right now. And not only in my opinion, in opinion of financial experts, won't stay at this level, but it will explode sooner rather than later.
Good, very good, excellent. That was my intuition as well. What we do in life crafting is we separate money out from the short term and the long term. So we use the Maslow hierarchy of needs in a very, very down to earth kind of way. And so when people are dealing with challenges with cash flow, with short term cash flow, so they may have, for example, exited a corporate job or career, something they've done for years, but they haven't replaced it yet with their what we call their career playground. Their what they love, what their passion is, and they're sort of in between. And so one of the things that we've developed in life crafting is a methodology, a specific interim step or strategy for developing cash flow with your gifts, your skills, your life experience, but here's the key, without a resume and without job interviews. So there's no jobs, there's none of that. It's a direct marketing system. It's a direct system that's very fun and joyful, creative, and allows you to be totally authentic. It allows you to be totally yourself. You're not dealing with HR departments or any of that impersonal stuff. And it's very doable. And a person, say, in a 2 to 3 month time frame could apply this method with success. And we give it away for free. We give our whole ebook on this topic away for free. It's called Cash Flow Magic. And not only can your audience get it, can download it, but they can also get coaching. They can also get free coaching with it if they come to our Facebook group and log in. So that'll be like one of the gifts that I'm going to provide for people. I want people to feel solid with their money, because that's when they get creative and when they can, you know, be in their higher energies and their source energy rather than survival, fear-based energy. They can be in their divine creative energy. And that's so I want to help people get there quickly and efficiently, so then they can start to play and be really in their greatest gifts. And that's what I want to see. So that's one of the gifts I'm going to offer people today. It's a whole combination. A
Thank
whole
you.
combination.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think right now a high percentage of people in the world get a job based on, the university or the college or the high
Yeah,
school they
totally,
graduated, and
totally.
only a small percentage do what they love to do. And I think
Right,
it will come a time where we go back to, the onion comparison, where
right,
we come out with our talent, with our love for doing something, and
right.
we will make our end meets based on what we love, not on what we were told to do or based on our diploma. So that will be a time of um, expansion.
Yes, yes. Well, it's available right now. It's available right now. People can have that, and they're. What people, what's mind blowing is when you start to realize how many ways people's perception has been limited through indoctrination and mind control. And as you start to shed that, you start letting go of that. You start to see the limitless nature of the human spirit and of our potential. And you step into in stages, you step into those levels of opportunity. And then when you have some guidance or coaching, which helps you to progress along that path, it just becomes more and more and more joyful. And you get validated for what you do well. You get validated for you feel good about what you do well. You don't have to ask for permission to, it's already there. So anyway, I get excited about that.
Indeed. Howard, a lot of my guests know exactly when they had their aha moment, the Kundalini awakening, or, they said, God talked to me and God replied, or, connecting to their higher self. Did you have a similar moment? And also, do you have a relationship with your spiritual guides?
Well, yes, I have a very, very active and pretty much continuous connection with my spiritual guides. I call them the clan. They're just like a clan. They have fun with me. I have fun with them. They download things to me all the time, and they know that I'll spend 5 days just writing on my computer from the download or whatever. So yes, that's very, very strong. And the astrodice are a channel or a vehicle through which they come. As far as the aha moment, there have been many, but if I had to just pick one, I probably would pick one that occurred let's see, it was probably somewhere around December of 1980, when I was developing the beginning first stages of what became the life crafting program. And I was working with my then partner at the time, and a very, very extraordinary experience. I would make an omelet in the morning and we would share it. We'd sit at this beautiful oak table, and I had a pen. There were really no computers, no internet, no phones, nothing. And I just would write, and we didn't really say anything. But we were both graduate students at the California Institute of Integral Studies. So we're both very immersed in spiritual work. Anyway, while she was there, the pen just kept going and going and going. Pages and pages filled up, and then if she went away, the pen wouldn't write. So it was one of these kind of symbiotic things. So I realized at the time the nature of the process and how it was being channeled and working, and I didn't even know. It took me until April of '81 for me to actually discover what actually came through me, because I didn't quite really know. And it was an example of one of those things where I created something 5 levels above my ability my actual ability levels. I had to grow into being able to lead the program that I designed. It was, another one of the fun, fun, mischievous kind of things that were happening then.
Thank you for sharing. And earlier you mentioned Mexico, so I have to ask you, while there, have you ever used plant medicine? Because they are famous for the quality of plant medicine they have, what their shaman use.
Yes, yes. Oh, no, I'm aware of that. No, I did not use at that time. I wasn't yet aware of that. I had not learned that. I learned subsequent to that. I learned about it, but that or back then it was mostly just going to big hotels and conferences and big hotels and whatever all that was where the focus was during that particular time. We were educating Americans in red pill. It was the very, very beginning stages of red pill. So that was a daunting, quite a daunting task.
So in other words, you didn't need plant medicine for your awakening and spiritual development.
Not at that time.
Okay.
Later, there was always room for it.
Okay, I leave it there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm starting to explore further now. I'm beginning stages of exploring further now.
Always, there's a room for that. So, do you have any spiritual gurus or people who impress you along the way?
Well, I'm very opposed to the concept, the notion of guru, because I don't like the idea of placing any one person above or below. So I don't think, we're all on our own perfect path with our own perfect knowledge. I do believe very strongly in human beings being catalysts for one another, helping others remember or be reminded what they already have in them that they had forgotten or they didn't realize. And I see myself very much in that role, the life fulfillment catalyst. So I hold a certain energy field, and then people make discoveries from the presence with that energy field. Although I like to speak and say things, but ultimately it's the energy field that interacts. But I have enjoyed and benefited from a lot of teachers, and I have a lot of reverence and appreciation for different teachers, courses, programs, whatever. Even Werner Erhard was one example back in the 80s. I learned a lot from the S training, the forum, things of that sort. Then in later years, I participated in a program called Avatar, which was you may have heard of that, like a 9-day experience. And then I became licensed to teach that course, which I did for a period of time. And I had some very profound experiences through that medium. And as these different teachings occurred, they all became sort of absorbed, you could say, at a certain level in my consciousness. They all became absorbed but readily available. And so I would do things, and then things would just come in, and I wouldn't necessarily know why or how, but I was accessing multiple different dimensions or technologies or whatever, and I was pulling them in. And I just had, total trust and total faith. And that happens nowadays with birth charts. I'll look at a birth chart and I'll be talking about whatever the planets, and then information will just start flowing in. So, and I'll give people tools to work with, because I like to see results. I'm a Taurus. I like to see practical results. So anyway, that's what I would say about that. There are no one is elevated above anybody else.
Yeah, thank you. And I like to think of myself as a facilitator as well. And I think a couple of years ago, while doing an interview with one of my guests from Australia, she mentioned to me that she sees me in a previous life as being a clarion call, just using this concept to pretty much show me that I'm a facilitator. And maybe that's why in my subconscious I had to start this podcast and bring guests forward so others can feed themselves from this knowledge and wisdom and become more aware of what's around them.
Definitely, definitely. I think that at this particular time, there are what we sometimes refer to as starseeds. We're old souls that are on this planet that have come here to facilitate the transition that the Earth is going through. And I very strongly identify with that role myself. And a lot of this group of people, whatever name we give them, have sort of a remarkable ability to recognize the truth pretty much instantaneously, which is very confounding to the average Joe. They don't have any. How could you know this? How could you know that? But it's instantaneous recognition because the truth does have a vibration to it, and if you're aware of that, you can feel it, you can know it.
Yes.
So anyway, I am studying the 5D, the 5D consciousness and all the different dimensions, and I am recognizing that in life crafting, we are moving people, on that path, forward on their path, to the extent that they're ready and and wanting to go there. So I see that, which is great.
Yeah, thank you, Howard. There are any other aspects of your programs which we haven't touched on during our chat, which you like to enhance?
Yes, absolutely. We touched on the support system concept, the empowerment, the mastermind. We indirectly touched a little bit on life purpose, which of course is this deep dive into the core of your being. That's very much a part of what we do. The other thing I will touch on a little bit is our work with beliefs. So most people watching your show are aware that beliefs, essentially create your reality, but they may not know how to actually transform limiting beliefs. Some people in spiritual circles live with this rather silly illusion that you can change your beliefs with a pep talk, like you can talk yourself into a new belief and that will work. Or I notice a lot of people in the business coaching field, they use the term mindset. They say, you need a better mindset. They throw around these platitudes and they think that's going to change something. Anyway, long story short, no, you need an actual toolkit for shifting beliefs, and you need to recognize that you cannot do that intellectually, that it has to be done at a body emotional level. So that brings us back to to what we have in our toolkit, where people learn how to do that. They learn, one, how to find which beliefs are the culprit to holding them back in specific ways. So we work our way backwards from the experience you're having in life or the pattern that you would like to change if you could, work backwards from there to the beliefs creating that pattern. Then what are those beliefs and how do we shift them at the core where they need to be shifted? And it's all a very progressive, step-by-step, learnable process that pretty much anybody can learn in a few weeks, a month, just a little practice, a little bit of support. It's all part of our system. So, and I want to also mention to your audience that we have a setup with our services, products and services, that we can accommodate pretty much anyone who's sincere. Now, we have high-end programs for serious, of course, professionals, but we also have affordable entry-level programs for pretty much anybody to get started. And as you know, getting started is always the key to anything in life. Once you start, then you can steer the car. I say you can't steer the car when it's parked in the driveway. So you want to get out on the road and moving, and then you can steer the car and then decide which exit on the freeway you want to get off, right? Anyway, so I want your audience to know that not to hesitate, get in touch with me. We can have a conversation. It's easy, it's fun, and there's all kinds of multiple different pathways or on-ramps of how you can become involved with. We have a lot of people, for example, who with crypto, touched on cryptocurrency, who are very motivated to become financially free and given where the markets are now, we have this very, very promising next phase. So some people like to come in that way, but they don't realize at first that our cryptocurrency, of course, is just an on-ramp to something, really much bigger. So the financial, while it's wonderful to have that freedom, but it's still only the beginning. And then they discover there's more. So I get a lot of pleasure out of that.
Yes, crypto is an interesting space. I'm involved in as well, and I learn every day. It's not easy, so one has to stay on top of it for sure. Howard, we are approaching the end of the interview. Any final thoughts?
Let's see. Well, let's say that what I would say this, whatever it is that you're going through right now, whatever things that you may have struggled with, grappled with, or you're going through right now, and no matter how difficult it may feel at times or whatever it may be, the key is always having some kind of a support environment where you can get other people who understand, who can be with, present with you, who can appreciate where you're at, who've been there before, etc. And just having that loving support makes a huge, profound difference. So I want to encourage everybody, just get in touch with us, join our Facebook group. It's a fun, amazing community. We have other avenues and ways you can do it. Just don't fall prey to the Lone Ranger syndrome where you try to do everything yourself. It's a very exciting time of wonderful, amazing, breakthrough, joyful opportunities for all of us today. And I just want to encourage everybody to come in and be part of it with us.
Yes, and these days, not a lot of people have the support of their families, and because of what's going on with, the C word and everything else, and they have to find support outside um, their um, their families,
Absolutely.
say to friends or even farther down, to strangers, which put together in communities. Yeah.
Claudiu, you hit on a really, really important point there with what you just said. This perhaps emotionally is one of the most difficult things people are going through nowadays with close friends and family who are not on this journey or not able to progress on this path for whatever reasons. And it can be really hard, but you need to find the courage to let each person be where they are, because that's where they need to be. And even if it's not, it's not the truth, or it's not right, or whatever your thoughts are, but honor and appreciate every person. It's very hard to do, but very important to do.
And another important aspect is don't give up on or don't submit to peer pressure. Stand your ground. If you think you are right, stand your ground, move forward, find the support group which Howard just mentioned, and keep going, because this is your truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right on the mark, Claudia. Thank you so much for that. And I want to just acknowledge you for the amazing work that you're doing in the world, and for the gifts you're bringing to bring people with your podcast. I really, I love what you're doing.
Thank you very much, Howard. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Before we wrap up, I want to make sure that I can give people mention our gift, our offer. Okay. So very, very quickly, we have something called the life crafting startup, or power start. We call it the power start. And when it's free, of course, when you come in on the site, you sign up for it. You're going to be introduced first to the astrodice event we have on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday. Tomorrow is the 2nd Wednesday. Then you're going to have a choice between 2 ebooks that you can download. One is the Cash Flow Magic I mentioned earlier, and the other one is called the Life Fulfillment Roadmap, which gives you the whole journey, all the steps in the journey from wherever you are to a completely fulfilled life, making money, doing what you love. So you'll have it all there, and you can pick either one of the 2 ebooks that you like, and then you'll be in our system and you can join our group. So I want to just mention that, and you'll have the link So people watching the interview will be able to access the link and be able to get that. And, look forward to connecting with you in whatever way that is in the future.
Thank you once again for your gifts. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And to my guests, thank you for watching it. Like it, share it. Get a free copy of my book when you visit my website. And until next time, love and gratitude.